right, guys, so we're gonna start with 30 jumping jacks. I'm gonna do mine a little more low impact tonight, but feel free to jump them like normal if you like. And when you're ready, we're going for 30. Total. Once you get to your 30, we'll stand up nice and tall, go into our stretches, looking over our right shoulder. Back through center, looking over our left shoulder. Back to center, right ear down towards right shoulder. And switching sides, left ear to the left shoulder. Coming back to center, let's do our head roll, drop to the chin to the chest, go around to the right. 3 full circles around to the right. Keep your eyes open, you don't get dizzy. Once you get your 3, just reverse, going around to the left for 3. Taking your time. Making your way back to center. And move it down to those shoulders, bring them up, around, and forward. Just the shoulders first to the ears and then drop them down. And then start to add those elbows. And then full arm circles up, around, and forward. Two more. And then let's just reverse. So just the shoulders to start, up, around, and back. And then let's add in the elbows. And then full arm circles up, around, and back. Two more. And then let's bring our arms out nice and wide and just cross them over in front. Let them swing. Nice and easy, just opening up the chest. Two more. All right, shake them on out. We're gonna move down to our hips, feet right underneath your hips, knees unlocked, hand to the hip bone, send the tailbone back, leaning forward, straight back, bowing, feeling that hinge at your hips, stretch in the back of your legs. Three more. And coming all the way back up to standing. Still working on the hips. Let's just take our feet nice and wide. Heels, toes pointed out to the side. Hands to the hips. Let's tilt our right hip out to the side. Legs are straight. Feeling that in the left inner thigh. Deep breath. Come through center. Let's just switch. Left hip up and out to the side. And back through center, walk those feet in just a couple inches for our hip roll. We're going to the left, front, right, and back. Let's do 3 full circles around to the right. And then reverse 3 circles around to the left. Try to keep the legs as straight as you can, bending the knees just a little bit if you need to. And once you get your 3 and your 3, you can bring those feet right back in underneath your hips, unlock your knees, hand to your kneecaps through and do our knee circles so feet stay flat on the ground, dipping down around to the right. Just getting some movement in the ankles and knees. And reverse that direction. 2 more. And carefully roll it on up to standing. We're just gonna go into our calf and hip flexor stretch. So if you need a chair or stand by the wall for balance, you can. We're gonna take our split stance, left leg forward, right leg back. Back leg stays flat, foot flat on the ground, leg straight. We're gonna bend and extend our front leg. So feeling that in the back calf, pushing that hip flexor down so that you're feeling it in that hip as well. Keeping both heels down. Just breathe, only going as far as where you're capable. If you're not feeling it in the back calf, you might have to take your foot a little farther back, your feet a little farther apart from each other. Do 2 more and then switch. And just switch sides, take your time, find your balance versus that split stance, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back leg straight, front leg bend and extend, keeping the heels on the ground, trying to feel that stretch in the back of your calf and pushing that hip flexor down to feel it in that front of your hip. Let's just do 2 more. And then coming up to standing, take your time. Let's just do our ankles. So standing up tall, taking that right foot, we're gonna point and flex that foot. And then we're gonna do some rolls, ankle rolls around to the right. And around to the left. And then let's switch sides, point and flex to the left. And ankle circles around to the left. And reverse around to the right. Shake out that ankle, shake out those feet, those legs. You need to grab a quick sip of water, you can. Before we get going, we're doing all supersets tonight, so all 2 exercises paired. Pretty much with most of them, the first exercise is gonna be dumbbells and the second exercise is gonna be bands. So you're gonna need both kind of throughout the whole workout. Either the bands with the handles or the bands without the handles, whatever you have. Whatever you got at home. Okay, so our first exercise, we're gonna start with dumbbell lateral lunges tonight. So we're gonna be doing 10 each side. So you're starting feet together. You got space out to the right. We'll do the right side first. You're gonna have your weights in either hand, stepping out. Remember, you always bend the stepping leg. The following leg just stays straight. You're gonna go outside the right knee. You're gonna press off the outside of the foot. You come back feet together. So step out right, send those hips back, press off feet together. Dumbbells just go on the outside of the working knee. We'll do 10 on the right side, and then we'll just switch places, and we will do 10 on our left. So we're grabbing our weights, starting so we have a lot of space over to our right side, stepping out with the right leg, bending that right knee, left leg is straight, pressing off the right foot back to center for 1. 10 total. Make sure you're taking a big enough, wide enough step out to the side so you have space to do your lunge. Keep your chest up. Pushing off the side of that foot, get yourself back to where you started. Once you get 10 on that side, just switch yourself to the other side of your mat. Now you've got space over to the left side. And when you're ready, big wide step out to the side with the left, press off. So remember, you're trying to kind of step out completely to the side, not stepping in front or behind you. Hips go back as the knee bends. Both toes point forward. And once you get 10 on your left side, you want to set your weights off to the side. Ooh, right here. And then you want to grab onto your band. So remember, second exercise for the most part tonight is going to be with your band. I'm going to use this one tonight, mine with the handles. We're going to start with the Lat Pull Aparts though. So this one, no matter if you got the handles or not, we're grabbing onto the band part of the band. Probably a little wider than your shoulders. Remember, the closer the hands come together, the harder it's going to be. Farther apart the hands are, the easier it's going to get. So try it about a little wider than your own shoulders. See how that feels. We're doing the lat pull apart, so that means arms start overhead, shoulders are down away from our ears, knees are unlocked. When you pull, the band comes straight down. You're gonna come right behind the back of your head, touch the top of your shoulders. Keep that tension as you come up. So even at the top, try to minimize this happening. Don't let your resistance completely go to zero. Try to keep a little top, even at the top of the exercise. Wow, like a tongue twister. All right, arms overhead, shoulders are down, knees are unlocked. We're going for 12 with this. So we're pulling out to the side. We tap the tops of our shoulders, then we release up. Out to the side, tap the shoulders, and up. Try to keep the shoulders down away from your ears, even though the arms are overhead. It's always okay to adjust kind of halfway through. If you're feeling like you need more tension or less tension. And once you reach 12, relax those shoulders, relax those arms down. Set that band off to the side. You kind of take note of where your hands were at, if you did it shoulder width distance this time, how that felt. Depending if you have multiple bands too, certain ones might feel a little different. So sometimes I like to use these flat bands for this exercise. And my grip is a little bit different if I use these because they're not the same strength as my tube bands. So always adjust on how you're feeling that day and what kind of band you're using that day as well. All right, catch your breath. We're going into our set number 2. So we need to grab our dumbbells again. We're going back to lateral lunges, side stepping lunges. Remember, we're going for 10 each side. So we're starting stepping out with our right leg. When you're ready, inhale, step, exhale, press. Chest is up, both hips go back evenly. So you're not twisting your body. And breathe. Ten each side. So once you get 10, go ahead, take a quick moment to get yourself positioned to be stepping with the left leg. Opposite leg, pushing off the opposite foot now. Making sure those hips always go backwards, not over the knee. Both heels flat on the ground. Ten each side. Same thing. Once you reach 10, the weights, set them off to the side for a moment. Grab that band. And then evaluate how it felt last time. If you need to make any adjustments of how close together your hands are, go ahead and do so. So remember, closer together will make it harder. Farther apart makes it easier. Arms start way overhead. Pull those shoulders away from your ears. Unlock your knees so that you're not arching your back. And then we're pulling out to the side. Tap your shoulders, coming back up. Trying to pull directly down. So it's a vertical motion. Try not to go too far forward or back. And we're doing this for 12. Yeah, once you reach your 12, arms come down, shake out those shoulders, release. Remember, you shouldn't be feeling tension in this part of your neck. If you are, it's probably that this is happening a little bit as you go. So watch those shoulders, pull them down. Even though arms are up, shoulders have to stay down. Use those rotator cuffs. Take a quick breather here. We've got one more set of each, going back to our dumbbell lateral lunges. Last time through before we move on. All right, grabbing those weights. We're starting on the right side, feet together, standing up tall. Dumbbells are gonna go outside the knee. When you're ready, stepping out to the side, bend, press off outside of the foot, come back, feet together. Last set of 10 each side. Ten on that right side. Once you get your 10, go ahead, get yourself ready. Get right into that left side. Left leg bending now, right leg stays straight. Side lunges. Chest up. Ten and 10. Once you reach your 10, set those weights down, grab onto your band. You got one more set of our lat pull apart. Grabbing onto that band as tight as you feel comfortable. Roll those shoulders down, get them away from your ears to start. Pull the shoulder blades away, knees are unlocked, arms come out to the side as the band comes down, keep that tension. As you come back up, last set of 12. And breathe. 12 total. Once you get your 12, release those arms down. Set that band down. Shake it on out. All righty. Moving along, we're going to be going into some sumo deadlifts and then also some upright rows with our band. So our sumo deadlifts, we're going to do these with our dumbbells. They are going to be straight leg deadlifts, even though they're sumo style. So let's just review real quick what our regular deadlifts are. Usually with our deadlifts, our feet are right underneath our hips, our knees are unlocked, and we're here. For those of you guys that were with me on Monday, we did a bunch of those on Monday as well. So that's why we're not doing a bunch of them tonight. We're just doing them differently, okay? So we're taking Sumo Stance, which means the feet go wider and heels, toes go out to the side. It's a deadlift, so the knees are still unlocked, but they're not really gonna bend. We're still working on the straight leg. So you're just gonna feel this a little bit more in the inner outer parts of your thigh and not just kind of solely in your hamstrings and glutes. So just a little bit different. So from the side, I'm gonna be in a Sumo Stance. You still see me kind of doing this deadlift where I'm not bending my knees. I'm just moving at my hips, my back stays flat. Okay, so still think deadlift, just sumo, and you're gonna feel it a little bit more inner outer thigh as well as your hamstrings. Okay, so weights still just stay in front of your body here. You reach down as far as you can without rounding and compromising your back, and then you stand back up. We're gonna do these for 12. So you can go ahead and grab your weights, 2 weights, or you can do one heavy one, I guess, if you want to just use one weight. So Sumo Stance, heels are wider than your hips. Toes are at least 45 degrees out to the side. Weights are in front of your body. Roll those shoulders down back, unlock your knees. And then we're moving at the hips, sending the hips back, reaching down, coming standing. 12 total of these sumo straight leg deadlifts. Remember, don't be bending your knees a ton. Move more with your hips. If you're doing a funky bow. And once you reach your 12, carefully bring your feet together and then bring your waist off to the side. We're going back after that band. Okay, so I said we're doing upright rows tonight. So we're gonna be standing on the band. Depending on your band tension, if you want more tension, you can add a second foot under your band. If you want a little less tension, just keep 1 foot under the band. I'm gonna, with this band that I have, I'm gonna just have 1 foot under. But if you're not feeling this, put a second foot under. Okay, I also like to make the X when I do an upright row. So go ahead and cross your handles so that there's an X in your band. It just keeps all the resistance coming from midline instead of kind of out to the side. So you can do that same thing. If you were doing 2 feet, you just switch the handles so you have this X. Same thing, just make sure your handles are even. So you're getting an even pull. From here, shoulders are down. Remember, with an upright row, we're driving our elbows up, hands end right about armpit height. Elbows ideally are a little higher than your shoulders. We're here kind of like a scarecrow, and then we're coming back down. So we're doing this for 12. So we're gonna inhale, we're gonna exhale, pull, squeeze, and inhale, lower down. Exhale, squeeze, inhale down. Arms come straight up the body. If you prefer, you could also do this with your dumbbells. $12 total. So yeah, if you don't feel like you have the right band, or maybe your band's too heavy and you have lighter weights, you could do the same thing. Just do your upright row with your weights. They're interchangeable. I'm just giving you some variety tonight. That's all. That's all we're doing. All right, shake of those arms. We are gonna go back to those sumo deadlifts. Hopefully you're feeling them a little bit more in your hips. You also need to be feeling them in your hamstring. I find with a sumo stance, it's actually easier to perform, but it tends to make you want to bend your knees more. So you just have to be a little careful as you're going down to really make sure it's still your hips that are moving and not your knees going out to the side. We just did all of our lateral knee bending. For now, they can just be unlocked. Okay, so round 2, arms are in front of our body. Our knees are just unlocked. We send our hips back, chest stays lifted. We come back to standing. We're going for 12. Stand up and squeeze. Total. Make sure those weights stay really close to the body as you go down, so you're not really feeling that in your low back. Once you get your 12, go ahead, grab that band or your weights if you prefer. If you have the band, make sure it's secure under that foot, make that X. If it wasn't hard enough the first time around, add that second foot. Shoulders are down, and we're going the second time through, upright row. Drive with your elbows, hands come straight up the body. Inhale, exhale. Still trying to keep those shoulders away from your ears. 12 total. Once you get your 12, set that band off to the side. Relax for a second. Upright row is probably one of those other exercises. This is one of the harder ones to keep your shoulders down. I think it's just the way your shoulder has to internally rotate. So ideally, it's not this. It doesn't look like this, that your shoulders stay in the same spot and you're able to get your shoulder above your, you're able to get your elbow above your shoulder without your shoulder coming up. If you can't do that, like if you literally just can't get the elbows up without the shoulders coming up, just go to shoulder height. Get your elbows to the shoulders and don't go further, okay? So only go further if you're able to do it without compromising your shoulders. That might just take time. We're doing a lot of stuff like this. The more you work your shoulders and your back, the stronger they get. Helps do posture though. That exercise, upright rows, specifically help target your upper back. It's actually great if you tend to be sitting, especially at a computer all day. They're a good posture exercise. All right, third time through, last time. We've got our sumo straight leg deadlift. So angling those feet out to the side, knees are gonna be unlocked, weights are in front of the body, back is nice and flat. We reach back with our hips, inhale, exhale, stand for 12. Hips are back. Squeezing the glutes at the end. Make sure you're not arching. Once you reach your 12, feet together. Waist off to the side. Grab that band. Upright row. Last time around. All right, 1 foot under. Well, or 2, I guess, depends. I told you had options. Making that X, I'm keeping with my 1 foot under tonight. Making that X. Drive those shoulders down. So think about your shoulders as those elbows come up. Decide whether you need to stop at your shoulder height or if you can get your elbows higher without compromising your shoulders. Last set through for 12. Well, total. All right. Setting that band off to the side. You need to shake out the shoulders. Sometimes it's hard to get them to stay in the right spot. They still feel a little kinked sometimes at the end of those there. All right, shake it out. Moving into our next superset, we're going to be doing single leg calf raises with our dumbbells. The dumbbell is actually optional, the single leg calf raise. And then we're also going to be doing some band bicep curls. So I do suggest positioning yourself next to a wall or a chair or something for balance support while we do single leg work, unless you're just really strong with your single legs. But this can be a little bit of a tough one. If you want to use added weight, what you're going to do is you're going to put the weight in your hand that's not helping you to balance. Okay, so if I'm using my left hand to kind of help balance against the wall or something for support, then my right hand would have the dumbbell. Completely optional. You might even want to try the first set without weight and see if it feels hard enough, then maybe don't add the weight on. But the way this works is you're going to be standing, so you're going to shift your weight over to your one leg. Your free leg, what I like to do is kind of wrap that toe around the back of that ankle just so it's out of the way. Because if it's over here, it's probably going to try to help me. Okay, so I like to kind of just wrap it around the back so it can't really do anything to help me. From here, you're going to lift up onto the ball of that toe, just like we would for calf raise. You're going straight up, and then you're coming straight down. We're going to be doing 10 on each side. Okay, so like I said, you might want to try it out unless you know you can do this with dumbbells. You might want to try it out with no weight first and just feel what body weight feels like. And then you can always add the weight onto our second and third set. Okay, so actually I'll start on my right side. So standing on your right side, we're going to wrap our left leg around the back. If you're using the weight, it would be in your left arm here. You're going to come up onto the ball of the toe, pause for a second, and then slowly come back down. Up on the ball of the toe and slowly come down. Ideally, you get 10 of these, or as many as you can personally do is fine. $10 total. Shake out that leg. As you switch over, I'm just switching sides because I have something to grab onto on either side. And you're just going to wrap the opposite leg around. So now I've got the weight on my right hand. My weight is going over to my left leg, and I'm going to do my 10 on my left side. Keep that working leg straight. Grow taller. Go straight up. 10 total. Make sure this is with calf raises, one of the only exercises you truly do want to lock out your knees and not have an unlocked knee. If you unlock your knee, you're gonna be a lot heavier. So when you go to do a calf raise, make sure your leg is completely locked out. It will kind of help you go straight up to the ceiling. Okay, 10 and 10 or whatever you got. And now we're gonna grab our band. We're gonna do band bicep curls. So again, if you prefer your weights, you could always just use your weights. Same rules apply. You can have 1 foot under for the band, or if you want more resistance, just add a second foot, bring your feet hip width distance. So you decide based on your band how you're feeling. Tonight we are doing these for 12. So palms are face forward, our shoulders are down, elbows are into the rib cage. We're coming up to our shoulders. We're slowly resisting on the way down. 12 bicep curls. Slow and controlled. Once you get your 12, set that band off to the side. Take a moment. Take a breath here. And we're going to repeat that. So based on how you felt on those first set of calf raises, if you didn't use a weight and you were struggling, don't add the weight. If you didn't use the weight and you were struggling so much that you couldn't do 10, then don't do 10. Do 5 or do 6 or do as many as you can do correctly before you feel like your heel just can't get its way off the ground. So you've done as much as you possibly can if you've gotten to that point. So ideally, as long as your heel gets off the ground and your weight shifts forward, we're putting that resistance on that calf. So that's what we're aiming to get. If you actually really excelled at this and it felt like no problem, I want you to take your hand off and do it balancing, because then you'll get the added core stability with it. Okay, so we're starting back to the right side. Take that left foot, wrap it around so it's out of the way, up on the ball of that toe, coming down. We're going for 10. Lock out that leg. Once you reach your 10, just switching around. Opposite side. These are always fun too, especially when you do single leg exercises, to notice which leg is stronger. Just like we have like a right side and a left side of how we hold things and right and do things, we have a right and left with our legs. And they're not always the same, what our hands are. So good to notice what's your strong side. Ten and 10. For me, I've always been the opposite. I'm right-handed, but my left leg has always been stronger than my right. My right leg just has to work a little bit harder to keep up. All right. Bicep curl, second time through. 1 foot under or 2 feet under your band, whatever you're feeling. Shoulders are down, elbows are into your rib cage, palms are out. We're coming all the way up and slowly releasing down. These are for 12. Total. And then you can release that band, set it off to the side. Shake it all out. Take a moment, a breather here before we go into our last set. How are we doing? Everybody able to do the single legs? Single leg calf raises for some reason are way harder than 2 legs together. Maybe because we're just all a little bit imbalanced. Whenever you do something with like 2 feet, your stronger side is, or 2 arms, your stronger side is going to help the weaker side. So you won't notice it. You usually don't feel the difference. But then when you go to do things one side at a time, you really start to notice. Good to kind of sometimes break up your exercises and do them like that if you can. Then you start to notice where you need to focus. All right, when you guys are ready, we're on our third set. And single leg calf raises each side, wrapping that leg around, heel toe forward, working leg is straight. And 10, those calves are burning. We're gonna do our two-part series calf stretch tonight too when we recover. So don't worry, we'll get some time to make the calves feel a little better after we just worked on them quite a bit. All right, when you're ready, last time through bicep curls, band under the foot for 2 feet, whatever you're feeling. Elbows in close, shoulders are down, last set of 12. Total. Once you reach your 12 here, you can actually set your band away. That's our last banded exercise of the evening. And this is the part where if you guys need to grab, if you haven't already grabbed your yoga block or your ball or your pillow, whatever you have that's kind of about this size and kind of squishy, not something that's like too hard. So like a soccer ball or throw pillow, whatever. You can need a second to go grab it. So we're going to be seated. So you want to make sure you have your chair. So we're going to be doing hip adduction today. So we do a lot of work sometimes with abduction. So abduction, we work when we put like our bands around our thighs and we do squats, or when we do like monster walks, we're pushing out to the side and working the outer portion of our hips. So that's abduction. Adduction, ADD, is when we're working the inner part of your thighs and of your hips. So just as important, small muscles. So that muscle group that does your abductors and your adductors is actually very small. It's a very small, thin muscle, but it's a very important one on both sides because it helps to stabilize your kneecap. So if you have any issues with your knees, a lot of times it's because the outside and the inside is imbalanced and weak, right? So usually your quadriceps are relatively strong just because when you walk or when you climb stairs or when you get out of chairs and stuff, that's kind of what you're using. But the inner outer parts of our thigh, that sometimes gives us problem with the knees. So we're working on that inner part tonight is what we're gonna work on. So you're gonna take your block and you're gonna put it in between your thighs, okay? So you're sitting up tall, you're taking your block, you can do it whatever direction feels comfortable for you. It depends on the object that you have. You can even, if it's like a squishy thing, you can put it in between your knees. But if like my yoga box may be a little hard, that I don't really love to squeeze my knees together, so I'm gonna put it a little higher than my kneecap, okay? Your feet, you're gonna bring them in just close enough so that you can keep that object where it is without it falling through your legs, okay? That's kind of your starting position. We're gonna sit up nice and tall. You can bring your hands to your thighs, you can bring them to your chair, you can bring them underneath your legs, wherever feels comfortable, but we're just gonna squeeze. So we're gonna take our thighs on the outside, we're gonna squeeze them in together. Kind of think those old school, like maybe like Jane Fonda videos. Squeeze, hold, and then release. So you're not releasing enough that you're dropping that object, but you're taking your thighs, you're squeezing, and then you're releasing. And when you squeeze, you should feel it from the inside of your kneecap all the way up the inside of your brain. That's where we're feeling it. So we're gonna do 12 squeezes total, squeezing, then releasing, squeezing, and then releasing. You can go ahead, hopefully you're counting. And whenever you get your 12, You can take your yoga block or you take whatever your pillow or whatever it is you're using. You bring it up on your lap. Give you guys a moment to finish out. That exercise is also, if you've ever been in a gym before, you see people sit at that, it's kind of that awkward machine where you sit, you're either spreading your legs and pressing out, or you start out and you're pulling in. We're doing the pulling in version, okay? That same motion. Okay, second exercise, you're still gonna use your block or your pillow or your ball or whatever you have. We're gonna do a Svend press. So a Svend press is where we kind of do the same concept. We're doing a squeeze. We're gonna start into our chest. Hands are come on either side of our object. We're gonna actively squeeze our hands together. So we should feel this activation all across the top of our chest and into our armpits, okay? So everything here, we're gonna squeeze together. As we're squeezing together, we're gonna extend our arms straight out, and then we're gonna come back in. We're gonna do 12 of those. So we're starting with that object right in front of our chest. We're squeezing our hands together. We're extending out, and then we're coming back in. That's one. Extending out, coming back in. Trying to keep those palms pressing in towards each other the whole time. Feeling that kind of strain by your armpits. Keeping that posture. 12 total, and then you can release down. You should really feel everything actually from the inside of your arms all the way down if you were holding that contraction that whole time. So go ahead and release it once you're done. Just a quick side note on what that looks like too. Make sure you're not overextending. So when you're here, you're going to here. You're not rounding, okay? So it's not like a cat cow. So from here, that's what I meant by keep good posture. Don't like lose your back and go. You don't need to extend your arms as far as they possibly can go, just until they're straight out in front of your body. Okay, we're going back to the adductions, the hip adduction. So you're gonna take that object, put it in between your thighs. If it's a yoga block, maybe just position it behind the kneecap so it's not gonna feel uncomfortable on the knees. Feet are narrow. You're sitting up nice and tall, and when you're ready, you're gonna squeeze your legs together and then release. Squeeze and then release. With a stationary object like this, you're not gonna see a whole lot, but you should be able to feel that tension. Twelve squeezes there. Once you get your 12, you can take it out between your thighs and bring it up to your chest. Hands come on outside of your object, shoulders are down. Now we're gonna actually push our hands in together. We're gonna reach out, and then we're coming back. 12 of our Svend press. Watching that posture. Keeping those hands pressing towards each other. Twelve total. And then you can release down. Relax those arms. Shake it on out. It's just a yoga block, but you can feel it. Yoga blocks have a lot of function, especially if you're ever in any of Nooko's classes and you're not as flexible as Nooko. I'm sure that you make plenty of use of them, but I use them a lot in fitness too for just various things, and they're pretty cheap. So if you don't have a yoga block, it's not a bad thing to invest in. You can kind of do a little bit with it. Usually I see them at like Ross or TJ Maxx sometimes, and I think they're like, I don't know, $5, something like that. Not expensive. All right, sitting up nice and tall, we've got one last set to get through. Taking our block or our pillow in between our legs, we're gonna do our last set of our squeezes for 12. Squeezing those sides together and then release, feeling it from the inside of our knee all the way up to our hips. 12 total. And then take that block or take that pillow, take that ball up to the chest, roll the shoulders down, press those palms in towards each other, extend the arms straight out from your chest and back in. Last time, 12. Total. Once you reach your 12, you can release down, shake out those arms a little bit. We are going to do seated stretches tonight, but before we do seated stretches, why don't we all come back up to standing? I'm just going to move my chair off to the side because I want to do those calf stretches. And actually, those of you guys with a yoga block, you can also use your yoga block for this calf stretch. So I'll show you both with the yoga block and with the dumbbell if you don't have the yoga block at home. So the yoga block's a little taller, so you probably feel it's a little bit deeper. So heels on the ground, toe is up either on the yoga block or toe is up on the middle of your dumbbell here. And then you shouldn't even have to lean forward very much at all, especially if you have a tall thing like the yoga block. And you're gonna feel that stretch all in the backside of your calf. That should feel nice. Let's just hang out here for a couple rounds of breath. All right, and let's switch sides. So left heel down, left toe up, either on the weight or on the block. Left side is very tight. Calves are also one of those things, we worked them tonight, but even when you don't feel like they're tight, if you stretch them, I feel like I've never stretched my calves and not felt something. It's like impossible for them not to get tight. We use them all day long. All right, let's go back to the first side. We're just gonna do our Achilles stretch. So this time, bend that knee, heel down, toe up, and then bend that knee. Well, you might have to lean forward just a little bit more. You'll feel this down towards your Achilles, so lower on your calf. And then just take a moment to switch sides. Get that out of the way. So heel down, toe up, and then bend at the knee, lean forward a little bit, feel that down to the Achilles. And then come up standing. All right. You can leave your block. If you guys feel like you need a little bit more of that, feel free to continue after we're done with class. I feel like those felt good. It felt good with that yoga block, actually. I might start using that more often for that stretch. All right, we're back to seated. Let's go through our series of stretches. So sitting up nice and tall, extend our right leg out, heel is down, toe is up, leaning forward with a flat back. Doing the stretch on the back of our leg. And then bringing that leg in, let's switch sides. And bring that left leg in. Let's go into our hip opener stretch. So either your ankle on ankle, opening up that hip, or if you can bring your ankle above your knee, let's go ahead and do that. Drop that hip down. If you want a deeper stretch, you can lean into it, lean forward a little bit. Feel that stretch. Now we're stretching the outside of our hip, the opposite area we were just working. Outside of the hip is what we used at the beginning, though, our lateral lunges. All right, you want to sit up and add the spinal twist on. So left hand to the outside of the right knee, reaching behind you, looking over your right shoulder. And coming back to center, you can untwist that leg, switching sides. Either ankle on ankle or ankle above your knee, whatever feels right. That hip drop out to the side, and if you like to lean forward a little bit, get a deeper stretch, you can. And then coming back to seated, hand outside of the knee, or spinal twist on the opposite side, looking over your left shoulder. And coming back to center, let's untwist, shake out those legs. Coming back to seated, let's take our right arm across our body, hug it in nice and close, stretching out that shoulder, drop it down away from your ear. And then relax, let's switch sides, across the body. And then two hands behind your back, clasp those fingers together, drop those shoulders down, and then pull those hands away from your back if you can, really opening up your chest. If you want to drop your ear towards your shoulder, you can. Do some neck stretches here. And release those arms forward. Let's clasp those hands together, round the back, push the back, those shoulder blades apart. Inhale. And then two arms up overhead. Let's reach up nice and tall. And then over to the right side, stretching out the left side of our body. And back to center, switch hands over to the left side. And back to center, last inhale up. And exhale everything out and down. Nice work, everybody. Thanks for joining and hanging out.